Hi there. So today we are going to see how to generate reports in SOAP UI free version. So if you see SOAP UI Pro version, you'll be having an icon to generate report, HTML reports and other format of reports directly. But we don't have that option in SOAP UI free version, but we have other techniques to generate report as we want. So here I'm going to use two techniques to generate HTML reports and CSV report. So first we are going to see how to create HTML reports using external plugin, and second we are going to see how we are going to generate CSV report using groovy scripting. So groovy scripting is a major thing in SOAP UI where we can perform any kind of operation we wanted, like we perform in SOAP UI Pro using simple tools. So before getting into HTML reports, this is my blog where you can see all steps of how to generate like, reports and everything, and you will have complete SOAP UI tutorial as well. You can check that. So let's see what are the steps to create generating HTML reports using Ant plugin. The first step is install Ant plugin. So if you see, you can either download Ant from the direct ant.org page where they have their recent releases. Otherwise, if you have your Eclipse installed in your system already, you will be having Ant already downloaded in your system. So go to your Eclipse folder. So here I have saved my Eclipse inside softwares folder. If you open Eclipse, you will see plugin folder inside that. If you open plugins, you will see Apache Ant already downloaded in your plugin section. So either way, you can use the Ant. The rest of the steps are similar, so you either download from its site or you'll have that already downloaded in your Eclipse folder. So now our step is we are going to copy the path because we are going to set environment variable. So I'm going to set environment variable by giving edit and click environment variable. Under system variables, you have to create a new one. You have to name it ant home and paste the path you have copied and click OK. Now you can see ant home is created. One more thing you are going to do is under path, double click and click new, write percentage ant underscore home percentage slash bin. We are just telling the system that take path of the ant home and then bin inside it. So clicking OK, we have created our environment variable. So if you don't have Eclipse and you are downloading Apache Ant directly from its site, it is the same procedure again. You just open the folder where your ant is and set this as your ant home and then mention ant home slash bin in your path. So, but make sure you have a bin folder inside it. If you open bin, you have all this command prompts here to run your ant. So now we set our environment variable for ant. Let's confirm whether we installed ant or not. So for that, open command prompt and that give ant version hyphen version. Now the version is displayed, so your ant is successfully installed. So our first step is over. Now we are going to see the second step, that is save your SOAP project as XML file. For this, go to your SOAP UI where you have created your projects already. If you haven't created your project, I have given a link in my description. Check that link to create your first SOAP project and working on the properties and other stuff. So now I have created many projects. In that I am going to export this calculate project to my XML file because I want to create test report for this project only. So doing right click, giving save project as. In my desktop, I'm going to save calculated report.xml. So now If you see, I have my project exported as in form of XML file. So next, our third step is running our SoapUI test using testrunner.batch file. So now for that, we are going to run our test using command prompt. So to run our test in command prompt, we need help of testrunner.batch file. So where to find that batch file? We have to go to the path where our SoapUI is installed. I have my SoapUI inside program files, SmartBear, SoapUI, inside that bin folder. If you see, testrunner.batch file. So we are going to run our test in command prompt using this file. So let's copy the path of the file and set in command prompt. So this is where our test runner file is there. Now that we have set our test runner path here in our command prompt, let's try few comments to execute the exported XML test project, SOAP project. So that if you check, there are a lot of comments to run your project. The first one, let us try test runner.batch path of your project in XML. So we have exported our calculator project as calculator report.xml in our desktop. So first I'm going to give the command testrunner.bat space. I'm going to specify the path or path of the XML file, which is in my desktop. So it is calculator report.xml. So I'm just executing it. So my SOAP project is executing from desktop. Yes, I can see my requests are executed, and it is showing the requests that have been passed in my SOAP UI. So if you see in my test project, I have two test cases, test suite 1 and test suite with Excel. We have seen already in our tutorial how to work on this calculator project. So I want to run only this test suite, not this one. So in that case, I can use the command testrunner.bat -yes. This will specify which test case we want to, sorry, which test suite we want to execute. So test suite 1 space path of the XML project. So again I'm specifying this users calculator report dot XML. You can also copy paste the path. So this will execute only this mentioned test suite, not both the test suites like previous one. So let's try one more command and directly get into the report generation. So in the same previous command, I'm just going to send a -r to get the reports in this command prompt itself. I'm just going to type in -r here. So this is also executing the same test suite. So if you see at the end, it is showing it has executed test suite 1 and test case 2 test cases, 5 test steps, and number of assertion it had, and number of tests failed and passed. So now we learned how to execute our SoapUI test project from command prompt. So our next step is creating a build.xml file. In this XML file, we'll specify the report format it needs to create and in which path the reports needs to be created, etc. and run this file in command prompt. So this is the code. Just simply copy paste this code in a notepad file. So I'm just opening a notepad. and pasting the code here and save it as build.xml and give save. I already have my build.xml saved, so let me open that directly. So if you observe in this build.xml, I had made few changes than the one I have in my blog. So here in place of test suite, I have mentioned my test suite name, and in soap project, I have mentioned where is my project saved, and soap UI home, this is where my soap UI path is. So okay, there is one troubleshooting stuff here. Generally, our SOAP UI will be installed under C colon program files, smart bear and SOAP UI. But in build.xml, when we specify the directories with spaces, because generally our program files will be program space files, right? So with spaces is creating problem. Sometimes I'm getting error like couldn't find a path, find this file, etc. So in internet's few links, they suggested to remove the spaces. So I moved my SoapUI Smart Bear folder directly to C colon and tried that as well. But still, sometimes I'm getting to execute our tests. Sometimes it is failing. So what I did, I directly copied the testrunner.batch file to my desktop because that is where I kept my uh, XML file, project file exported. So this is working fine. Every time when I execute, I'm getting proper output without any error or trouble. So if anyone know why this is happening, you can, or any links that helps me to rectify this mistake, you can share the link in comments. So I have mentioned a result.directory where I need my results to be stored, and I'm defining where my results and HTML files should be stored. And in my target, I just gave the line I am going to execute here. This is nothing but the command. Here I'm specifying executable is testrunner.bat, that is from SoapUI home/bin. So it just points at this folder/bin folder. This testrunner.bat file is there. So this is the command we actually specified in our command prompt previously, where R is actually representing the reports that are to be generated, and F specifies where our output folder should be created, and here we are specifying which project it needs to execute. So then we specify make the directory report.directory, just create a folder and save our test.xml and HTML files as reports. So now just we have copied the code and saved this build.xml in our desktop. You can simply edit your path and your output folders in this code by editing it in Notepad. So this step is done. Finally, we are going to execute this build.xml file to see our reports generated. So in this build.xml, we specified which project to be executed, which folders the output needs to be created, and which format the report need to be generated. Everything is there specified in the build.xml. Now I'm going to set the path to where my project file is there. So I have my project file in desktop. So I'm simply going to change the path to my desktop. C colon slash users slash your username and desktop. So I switched to my desktop. Now I'm just going to give this command ant. So this will search for build.xml in this path and execute it. So let us see. So it is executing our build.xml. As specified, it is executing our test suite 1 from the calculator reporter project. So see, in our desktop, once the test is executed, all the reports are generated for each test step It is showing the timestamp it took and everything. So under reports folder, if you see, it has created two folders. One is HTML and another one is an XML file. So first let's see the HTML thing inside index. If you see, there are three tests, one failure, and success rate is 66.7%. So the project name is calculator. Everything is in the format of HTML. So when you click on the test, it is showing the suit name, test case name, and the status, etc., and the time took to execute. So if you click on this testsuite.xml, it is just the same report in XML format. It says all of the details, the request you have sent, and everything in the XML format. So that is how we have generated our HTML and XML report. Now we have seen how to generate HTML report using Ant plugin. So our second thing is how we are going to generate CSV report using groovy scripting. So as I said, groovy scripting is very helpful in creating a lot of user-defined user-defined steps, or we can do anything with our groovy script. So one such thing is generating report CSV report using groovy script. You can use the same method to create Excel reports or even HTML reports using groovy scripting. So let's now in our tutorial we are going to see CSV reports. You can customize the code as you want and create any kind of report you want with the same code. So before creating a groovy script, let's create a test suite in our project. So again, I'm going to generate the CSV file for calculator project only. Let us create a new test suite. So I'm gonna name it utils, and inside the utils test suite, I'm going to create a new test case and I'm going to name it reporter util. So inside my reporter util, I'm gonna create a groovy script, add test step, groovy script, where I'm gonna name it generate CSV report. So yes, we have created our groovy script. Now we're gonna copy paste the code in our block. Let me explain the code once I pasted it. So it is a very simple straightforward code which collects very basic details of your test step and just paste it in a CSV file. So in my first step, I'm just specifying the path where my results should be saved. Here, I'm just updating my username. You just mention any path you want as per your requirement. And then my second line is creating a result folder in this path. My result folder name is SoapUI results. So I'm just checking whether my result folder is already there. If it is there, it just goes to the next step. If not, it creates the directory. So I am going to create two subfolders. The one is to store my request and responses, and the other one is to save my CSV reports. So every time a new file is created, it will be saved in the same name. So I just want all my files to be present in the folder. It should not be overwritten, or it should not delete in place of replacing a new file. So I'm just defining a date format with seconds, so that for every second it will be a different name. So as I execute, it will be appended with the current time and it will be saved. It is very easy for us also to uh, identify the file. So next, again, it checks whether the subfolders are created. If not, it is going to create a subfolder. And we just created a new file called report.csv. You can name it anything as you want. And I'm gonna have these column names in the CSV. So this is again the basic details like test suite, test case name, test step name, etc. You can further, if you want to further get the data from your response and save it in your CSV file, you can do that. We have seen a previous tutorial how to access properties and how to read response from groovy scripting. So you can incorporate those code inside this code to get your response accordingly and save it in your CSV file. So as the CSV file is non-formatted file, we cannot add any formatting like bold and colors and etc. If you are going to create an Excel file, instead of CSV file, create an Excel file and you can create cells and put the same data there. There you have options to set the colors and font size and everything. You can customize the complete report. We are just seeing a basic report here, so I'm not including any of that here. So for every test step it executes, it is just iterating it. For all the test step, it takes the suit name, test case name, test step name, and the type of the test step. That is whether it is a SOAP test step or properties or a groovy step, etc. And once all the data are assigned to the variables, I'm just going to append those values. These are nothing but the basic values we are getting from our test runner. And report file is our CSV file. We are just going to append the values. If it is an Excel file, you have to create a cell and put these values in cell. If you want to know the to work on your Excel code, you just have a tutorial where to read data from Excel file and write data from Excel file. You can check the code and customize accordingly. So for the response message, we just again appending the response message. And finally, it just takes the request and response from the request executed and write it to a new file under the subfolder 1, which is the response request folder. So now we have a groovy script saved. So how to link that with the tests we execute? We can call this groovy test script from somewhere we want it to be executed. So for example, if we want to generate report in our Selenium or Cucumber, we just call test report every time once the test is executed or a test suite is executed. So it will automatically hit the report generation code and generate report. The same way, if you click on the project level uh, tab, you can see setup script and tear down script tab. So basically this setup and tear down scripts are like before methods and after method in TestNG, or you can say hooks in Selenium, hooks in Cucumber. Same way, where the script, groovy script you write under setup script will execute before all your tests executed in the test suite. The same way, and tear down step will execute after your tests are executed in your test suite. So when will we generate report? Once all our tests are executed and the results are populated. After that, we have to generate a report to see how many tests passed and failed. So we are going to write a script and tear down script to call the groovy script to be executed after every test step. So let's copy the code to be written on the tear down step and paste it. Here I have a generic names filled, so I'm going to fill the exact name I have given. So my test suite name is utils, that is what I have given here, and test case name is reporter util. Let me update. And my GUI test step name is generate CSV report. So yes, I have the text here. So what it will do when I execute this test suite, every time it just go execute all the steps and then go call this generate CSV report test step. So what this will do, it will create folders and subfolders and generate report and save it in the desired folder. You can also do that in test case level. For this particular test case alone, if you want the report, you can do that, or you can do that even in the project level. So let me execute this test suite. So the test suite is finished. Let us check whether the reports are generated. So yes, in our desktop we have the folder Sophia result. If you open, you have the CSV report, and this is the recent one that is executed. Yes, if you see, test suite, test case, test step, and step type. Status is unknown because we haven't added any assertion in our code. So if you add assertion, it will show pass or fail status and then the execution date. The same way, if you see the request response under which it has all the responses saved. So thus we have generated our CSV report using Groovy scripting. So again, if you want any customization or new files or new data to be added, or even you can take particular data from your uh, response and compare it with other value and put pass or fail accordingly according to your requirement. So we have seen two kind of report generation using Groovy scripting. If you want to generate report in other formats, do comment below. I'll try to work on it and make a video. Thank you.